Hello everyone, and welcome to the Module 5 presentation on social influence and social impact theory. My name is Troy Jackson and I will be presenting on this week's readings for Psych 512. On the following slides, I will discuss how the behaviors of others can be changed through social influence. This can occur through conformity, compliance, and obedience. I will also discuss the effects of social influence on groups, and finally, I will discuss social impact theory. I will present my two discussion questions for the week at the end. This week's readings discuss social influence and the role it plays in conformity, compliance, and obedience. This social influence can occur without any knowledge to the participant who blindly mimics others around them. Social influence, as has been demonstrated historically, just as it can be clearly seen today, can take on both positive and negative roles. Life demonstrates to us that every human being has an impact on another, and these impacts can be either positive or negative depending on varying factors. Humans, in fact, as discussed by Casson, will often mirror one another during social interactions, as can be demonstrated by a contagious yawn, nodding in approval, leaning in while having a conversation, or folding one's arms together during a conversation. In addition to mimicry, social interactions can also lead to individuals changing their own beliefs or behaviors in order to fit in. Another reason individuals will change their beliefs or behaviors is to avoid social rejection. Research discussed in this week's readings demonstrates the two main reasons individuals conform: informational influence and normative influence. Informational influence, or the need to be right, assumes that others in agreement must be right based on the wisdom of the collective. The second reason individuals conform is normative influence. It's their fear of negative consequences. As has been discussed in previous readings, human beings are social animals constantly seeking social acceptance. While individuals may conform socially, they may also hold on to their own opinions that defy displayed behaviors in social settings, such as public and private conformity. Compliance may be influenced through direct requests or through subtle and elaborate manipulations. Research demonstrates how compliance, as often seen in advertising, politics, and business, can be manipulated simply by providing a legitimate reason. In contrast to this, research also demonstrates that mindless compliance can occur while processing requests lazily without applying critical thought to the request. Compliance may also come in a form of "you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours" expected response. Other forms of compliance come from lowballing, foot in the door, and door in the face as two-step techniques to elicit compliance using one request that ultimately leads to another. History has proven how easily people can be led by authority of any kind. This could be a simple sign posting rules or regulations, a parent giving guidance to a child, or it can come from the form of those with religious authority. Other times it can also come from a monstrous dictator, as was witnessed during Nazi Germany. Milgram's electrical shock experiments demonstrated that an authoritative figure, such as the instructor in this case, could influence participants to administer increasing levels of electrical shocks to their victims by simply being present as the individual in control. As discussed in previous week's readings, individuals join groups to enhance self-esteem, acceptance, and performance. These groups, however, may not always produce positive results, as the removal of accountability increases the chance of group defiance, increased polarization, bias sampling, and social loafing. One example of conformity having increased negative effects in group settings in the form of bias sampling is how individuals may withhold pertinent information for fear of rejection, as was witnessed in the 1986 decision by NASA to launch the Space Shuttle Challenger despite having information indicating imminent disaster, which ultimately had catastrophic results. Social impact theory states that the total influence on the target is based on the strength of the source as determined by status, ability, or relationship to the target, the immediacy or proximity in both space and time to the target, and the number of sources involved. For example, when people view other members of a group as competent, they're more likely to conform to their judgments. When it comes to compliance, sources can enhance their strength by making targets feel obligated to reciprocate a small favor, and to elicit obedience, authority figures gain strength by wearing a uniform or flaunting their prestigious affiliations. As Casson discussed, Milgram's research offers the best example of obedience. The rates were higher when the experimenter issued commands in person rather than from a remote location, and when the victim suffered in close proximity to the participant, he acted in a contrary way, and obedience levels dropped. Social impact theory also predicts that people sometimes resist social pressure. According to research, resistance is most likely to occur when social impact is divided among many strong and distant targets. In recent years, researchers argue that remote social media may diminish the importance of physical proximity.